everyone watching on YouTube, and welcome back to Phoenix Wright Ace Attorney Trilogy. Farewell, my Turnabout. Justice for All, Episode 4. Let's get it done. I'm still optimistic about the third game. I hope the third game is a bit of a return to form, because I enjoyed the first game, the first Phoenix Wright game we did. It was a pretty fun time, all things considered. I have not liked the second game, so I'm hoping the third game can bring me back. But before we can get to that, I have to finish this case and free us from this suffering. Dude, I can't believe that Adrian, no way, not cool and collected Adrian Andrews. She's your manager? It would have been very easy for her to pull this off. The only person who had easy access to the knife you used at dinner was, well, her. So after the ceremony during the break, huh? I was sleeping like a log the entire time. See, she could have also easily planted that blood-covered button in your hakama. Because she was the one that came to wake me up? Then, dude, you're saying it really was her? Yes, she's the real killer. She was the one who murdered Juan Carita. But why? I thought she was buds with Juan. She has her own agenda. Her own agenda? What are you talking about? I'm sure you'll see by the time this trial's over. It'll be all right. I'll get you acquitted by the end of today. Okay, it seems like we actually are going to finish this entire case today, which is fine by me because I don't want to do another investigation period. So maybe this will be shorter than I think it'll be, and we might be able to start the third game today. That'd be nice. Give me a verdict that's refreshing like a spring breeze, okay, Mr. Lawyer Dude? Phoenix, you think her motive is related to Celestine Pax's missing suicide note, right? Yes. Miss Andrews depended on Miss Impax as her strength and reason to live. But then Miss Impax suddenly killed herself. Sounds like she left a suicide note and the person thought to have hidden it is Juan Carita, the victim of this murder. That's why I think that Miss Andrews got close to Mr. Carita, all to get the suicide note back. That sounds plausible. But one thing bothers me. What? Who was it that first told us about the relationship? Better stated, Miss Andrews' dependency issues with regards to Miss Impax. It was Edgeworth. Looks like he's still the one in command of this ship. Don't let your guard down yet. Yeah, okay. I still don't really get what Edgeworth is doing, like, at all, but I guess we'll find out. Court will now reconvene. Now then, Mr. Edgeworth, if you please. The prosecution calls the witness subpoenaed by this court, Miss Adrian Andrews, the person who discovered the crime in Mr. Juan Carita's room. There she is. Okay, she's got the conch shell card that's related to, the killer or whatever, the guy who kidnapped Maya. What is your occupation? I'm the manager of the defendant in this case, Mr. Matt Ungard. I see. Now then. Before we begin, Your Honor, I have one request. Yeah, sure. What is it? I'm sure everyone in this room is wondering the same thing, and would love to find out more about my relationship with the victim. After all, it was the topic of a certain weekly magazine recently. No, I have no idea what you mean. I've never even heard of Gossip Land. If the judge was ever a prosecution witness, he'd do all my work for me. Anyway, I was wondering if you could please tell us about your relation to the victim. Yes, I was seeing Mr. Carita. I was also aware of the rivalry that existed between Matt and Juan, but this was a private matter between Juan and myself. So it was a fry and bait matter. Or was that bait and fry? Reminds me of fishing. I have no idea what he's talking about. But I didn't kill him. No one's accusing you of that. Literally, Phoenix is accusing you of that. I think there's someone who would beg to differ. I think we all understand your relationship with the victim now, Miss Andrews. Very well then, witness, please testify to the court about what happened when you discovered the murder that had taken place. There was a murder? That's crazy. It was time for the show to start, so I went to get Matt from his room. After that, I went to Juan's room, and there was his dead body. I was in shock. What I saw was, naturally, the exact same scene as the crime scene photo. I felt as though I was about to faint, so I poured myself a glass of juice. What? No, you did not! You poured yourself a glass of juice? Yes, sadly, I didn't remember not to touch things at the scene of a crime. And I disturbed the crime scene by moving this one thing. And that's when the fingerprints on the wine glass were made, Your Honor. I see. Absolutely, you did not walk in there and see a dead man's body and then pour yourself a glass of tomato juice. That did not happen, Your Honor. Well, Mr. Wright, you may cross-examine the witness. Phoenix. She's one cool and collected customer, and she has the brains to match. Yeah, I know. In order to catch a person like her, you have to avoid head-on confrontations. You should disrupt her pacing. Disrupt her pacing? She's the type of woman who's easily thrown off by things inconsistent with her thinking, so you have to attack when she least expects it. The instant you let up on your offense is the instant this trial is over. Understand? All right. I'm just gonna press L1 on everything. That's all I really know how to do here, Mia, is just press L1. Oh, great. I'm still at like half health. Fantastic. Hold it! Hold it! And what was Mr. On guard during at that time? During at that time? Where was he? He was taking a nap or doing? I think I read that sentence wrong. He was worn out from his mini performance as the Nickel Samurai during the ceremony. Mr. On guard did say he was taking a nap. Then I guess you could say it could not have been taken out of his room, yes? Excuse me? It? What are you? Right. I thought years of school would have taught you how to construct a sentence. If you can't make a sensible sentence with the subject, then I'll make one for you. Watch. Did you, Miss Andrews, remove Mr. On guard's knife from his room? No. Subject, verb, object, right? Did you skip basic grammar? The witness may continue. All right, teacher's pet. And why did you do that? As a friendly gesture, Juan was to make an appearance with the other heroes. So the show was supposed to be a show of friendship, huh? Press. Is that the only reason? I beg your pardon? What are you implying? You had a certain goal in mind when you started to get close to him, correct? Perhaps you had a more personal matter to discuss with the victim? Sorry, but I didn't have any such intentions in mind at that time. Can't get her to talk without a strong piece of evidence, I guess. May we continue now? Witness, what did you see when you got to his room? There was his dead body. I was in shock. Not in so much shock that you couldn't pour tomato juice into a wine glass, evidently. You would think that if you were in shock, that would be pretty hard to effectively do without spilling any whatchamacallit. You were in shock? What? Was I not supposed to be? Miss Andrews is a very calculating person, and despite how close they were, I doubt she had romantic feelings for Mr. Kurita. Anyone randomly stumbling upon a dead body would be in shock. Well, you can't seriously expect that a young beauty like her would not be shocked. Your Honor, why is Edgeworth bringing the attractiveness of the witness into play? Somehow, I don't think beauty has anything to do with being shocked or not. I see. The exact same scene is in the crime scene photo. Is that so? This is the photo you're referring to, correct? This is not what you came into the scene on because that wine glass was not already there. She's cheating, Your Honor. Or not cheating, she's lying. Yes, the one with the knife lodged in his chest. And the guitar case was like this too. Yes, it was open and empty, of course. And then, what did you do next, witness? Felt as though I was about to faint, so I poured myself a glass of juice. This makes no sense. This makes no logistical sense that you felt faint and then poured yourself juice. That just, you don't do that. Juice. Yes, there was a bottle of tomato juice on the table, so I helped myself. Chat, do people normally drink tomato juice? Like apple juice, orange juice? I know that tomato juice is a thing, but is it something that you just like people drink offhand? I feel like I've never heard of people just drinking tomato juice. There was a bottle of tomato juice on the table, so I helped myself. But you didn't drink any of it, did you? Huh? There were no lip marks left on this wine glass to suggest that anyone drank from it. I wasn't feeling terribly great, so I set the glass down without drinking it. Miss Andrews, I'd like to confirm with you one more time. When you discovered the dead body of Juan Kurita, you were in great shock. And that's when you poured yourself the glass of juice, correct? And what of it? My mind really was a complete blank at the time. Your mind was a complete blank. I didn't think that was possible for you. Aren't you rude today? I was so dazed that I made one careless mistake, that one thing. What one thing? Never mind, it's no big deal. What was she starting to say just now? Yeah, press further, hello, obviously. Miss Andrews, I'm convinced that as you said, you made a mistake at the scene of the crime. What I really want to know is what this mistake was. Actually, so would I. I'm sorry, it's kind of embarrassing. When I set the glass down on the dresser, I accidentally knocked the flower vase over. Look at those bright blue pants she's wearing. Some people drink tomato juice. Only vegans? There's no way it's only vegans. I didn't even know the vegans did it. Someone in chat has a dad who drinks tomato juice? All right, well, you know, I guess I've just never encountered tomato juice drinkers. How about that? Flower vase? Are you talking about the one on the floor in the crime photo? This mess of glass shards? It was originally on top of the dresser, but when I bumped into it with my elbow, it fell onto the guitar case. Why did you withhold such an important piece of information? I'm sorry. I thought that since the crime scene was already in disarray, that people would simply assume the vase was just another part of the mess. Looks like yet another fact has come to light here. Please add this and anything else you have to reveal to your testimony. I'm sorry, but I have nothing more to add. I didn't touch anything else. Sus. I was the one who knocked the flower vase over where it fell into the guitar case. All right, hold it. What kind of flower vase was it? It was a glass vase and it was fairly big and heavy. Wait a second, show me the guitar case. There is some water, but only on top of the lid. I think I just found our contradiction, chat. It was a glass vase and it was fairly big and heavy. I thought I would try to take Juan's pulse, so I set the glass I was holding down on the dresser. That's when my elbow accidentally hit the vase. That's odd, I thought she was always in total control of herself. That's what she would like people to think. Always be mindful of the gap between your perception and reality. All right, some Itachi Uchiha shenanigans going on there. It doesn't sound like there's any glaring contradictions in her testimony just now. I warned you earlier that she would not crack so easily. The only way to make her is to keep on the offensive and not let up. The only way you're gonna catch her is with some very strong, decisive evidence. Have to find something, I have to, for Maya's sake. I'm trying to read the text boxes a little faster so we can make sure to finish this today. Didn't you say that the, what I saw was naturally the exact same scene as in the crime scene photo? Okay, but the crime scene photo, is it this photo? No, not that one. There's a crime photo. In this photo, the guitar case is already opened, but the guitar case says that there is only water on top of the lid. If she knocked that vase over, then the guitar case would have had to have been closed because water is only on the top of the lid. Where do I don't know. Here's the problem now is I don't know how to object. Do I object to this sentence with either the crime photo or the guitar case? Or do I object to this sentence with the photo or the guitar case? We have like 4 possibilities. This is the one where the contradiction really is, where she says it's the same as the crime scene photo, but that's not the case. But we had to go out of our way to get, like, this sentence was added, so I think Mia said we have to stay on the offensive, so we probably want to keep hitting the one that we just added. I should probably save the game, actually, is what I should probably do. I was the one who knocked the flower vase over where it fell into the guitar case. We're probably supposed to use the guitar case. saved the game, so if we're supposed to do it on the other sentence, then I'll just reload. But I think it's this one with the guitar case, or it's the other sentence, like 2 back with the guitar case. Objection! Objection? The music stopped? I think I'm a genius. You testified that you knocked the flower vase over. Is this correct? Now that I think about it, actually, I think sometimes you can present more than one thing and it'll work, right? So we probably could have presented the guitar case on either of the 2 sentences I was looking at, and it probably would have worked. Yes. Are you sure it fell onto the guitar case? Is there some problem with what I said? It's not some problem. It's a major problem. It's true that the top of the guitar case was wet with water. However, that's exactly what is so strange. Miss Andrews, you testified the vase fell onto the guitar case. However, if that was true, the case should have gotten wet on the inside, not the outside. Dummy. That's very true. Furthermore, there's one other strange thing about this guitar case. What's that? Let's take another look at the crime scene photo. The remains of the vase are scattered on the floor. What's wrong with that? If the guitar case was open when the vase fell, the glass shard should be inside, not outside the case. What's your point, right? That the case was closed at the time the vase was knocked over? Is that all? No. Think back to what Miss Andrews testified to. She said that other than the vase, she didn't touch anything else. Nah. Yes, that's right. She did implicitly say she didn't touch the guitar case. But this whole matter with the guitar case is a dead end. The bright red guitar was found at the studio. It has no bearing on this case at all. That may very well be, however. The empty guitar case does seem to have no relation to the case, doesn't it? It seems that there is no deeper meaning to the guitar case. Well, Mr. Wright, do you think we need to hear more details about the guitar case? Yeah, because I have nothing else to go on. The empty guitar case. I believe this is a crucial piece of the puzzle. I can't believe anyone would reach for straws like this. It's literally, Edgeworth, it's literally the entire basis of this game franchise, I say, having played 2 games in this franchise, is Phoenix reaching for straws. This dude cross-examined a parrot, brother. But it is you. Can't believe I'm doing this either. I can't believe that Phoenix would not believe he would ever do anything in a court after he agreed to cross-examine a parrot. All right, I'll follow along for now. Miss Andrews, please testify to the court about the guitar case. Yes, Your Honor. Yeah, you dumb idiot, moron, guitar-touching freak, idiot, loser. Got her. Destroyed. She'll never emotionally recover from that one, chat. I don't remember too clearly because I was a bit dazed. I suppose I must have opened the guitar case after I knocked the vase over. It's not a big deal though, right? The case was empty after all. As for why I opened the case, even I don't know. Okay, that's very little to go off of. Looks like this really wasn't a very important point. This wastefulness is such a familiar feeling by now that it's almost comforting. Anyway, I'll go ahead and start the cross-examination. Using anyway to change the topic. A convenient escape for a weak man. Anyway is just a word, Edgeworth. What are you talking about? Chat, I agree. The parrot was peak. I'm not saying it wasn't. I'm just saying that, you know, Phoenix shouldn't believe, like, anything that he's, like, he should never be like, I can't believe I'm doing this after he cross-examined a parrot, is all I'm saying. Hold it! During your testimony just now, did you remember those events clearly in your mind? Well, you see. Are you sure you're the one who opened the guitar case? She's waiting for someone to tell her if she should answer or not. Sounds like her dependent side has taken over. Well, Miss Andrews? Yes, it was me. Suppose I must have opened the guitar case after I knocked the vase over, okay. So you opened the guitar case then? Yes, well, maybe. Why'd you open the guitar case? Huh? Mr. Karitta's dead body was right there in front of you, wasn't it? I'd think the first thing you would do is call for help, not open a guitar case. No, Phoenix. The first thing you would do is pour yourself a nice, refreshing glass of tomato juice. Then you would check the body. As the witness has said multiple times, when she found the dead body, she was dazed. Maybe I was curious to know if the bright red guitar was all right or not. I thought maybe the criminal took it. Why would she care about the bright red guitar? But getting back on topic. It's not a big deal though, right? The case was empty after all. Was it really empty? I was just wondering if maybe when you opened the case, the guitar was still inside. How long have you been a lawyer, Mr. Wright? Have a little professionalism. The bright red guitar was found at the studio. These trials would be over in half the time if you would just pay attention. Yes, pay more attention, Mr. Wright. Sorry? As for I opened the case, even I don't know. Was that because you were shocked and dazed at discovering the victim's body? Yes, that's probably it. I'm not gonna get anywhere if I continue pressing her like this. The only way to make her talk is with evidence. I guess I should give it a try. Come on, Phoenix, we can't afford to let up on her now. I wasn't planning on letting up, but she's at her weakest now. This is our chance. Yeah, if we had a weapon to hit her with. I'm sure a weapon is hiding somewhere in the court record, waiting to be found. Okay, so you want me to... It seems like the game is really saying I need to present evidence right here. But, like, what evidence would I show is the thing. Huh. Maybe she was looking in the guitar case for the suicide note? Now that I think about it, which one of these is the suicide thing? Yeah. Oh, I can't, like, read anything else from it. Oh, no, wait, no, this is her suicide note. This is, okay, this is Celeste's. Maybe she was looking for... Yeah, I don't know. I don't think any of this other stuff is gonna help. They said they want evidence, not a person, so it's not gonna be a profile. That's not really gonna help. Let me look at this again. Don't remember too clearly, I was a bit dazed. I suppose I must open the guitar case after I knocked the vase over. I think that she opened the guitar case because she was looking for the suicide note. That's what I think. So does it really want me to bring up the suicide note? We haven't, like, brought up her relation to Celeste Pax yet, though. But maybe? I'm a lot more willing to just throw stuff at the wall today, to be honest, to get through this case. Bringing up the suicide note feels like it's gonna be too sudden. I feel like we have to get her to... I feel like at some point we're gonna get her to bring up Celeste, and then we're gonna start showing the suicide reports after that. Probably. The guitar case does say that it has Caritta's fingerprints, but it doesn't say that it has her fingerprints. So they took fingerprints off of these. So if her fingerprints aren't on the guitar case, that means she didn't open it, right? So maybe that's it? It's not gonna be this photo. It's not the press conference ticket. It's not the Killer transceiver. I don't think it's gonna be Lotta's camera. Lotta's camera was for old bag. I don't think that it's gonna be the gossip thing. I think it's either gotta be that we bring up, like, you were looking for the suicide note, which feels like it might be a little bit of a leap for how this game normally works, or it's gonna be your fingerprints aren't on the guitar case. Why didn't we take fingerprints off of this? If her fingerprints are on that, then we have proof. I'm gonna bet on the guitar case, and if it's not that, then it must be the suicide. Listen, I might be remembering this backwards. I think, like, the last 2 streams, weren't we having a problem where I would come up with 2 options, and then I would go with my gut instinct and be wrong, and my second option would be right? Or maybe it's vice versa. We're going with my second option, which is the guitar case, instead of my gut instinct. The music stopped. I'm incredible. How does he do it? There's no way you were the one who opened the guitar case. Okay, yeah, it's the fingerprints. All right, I'm glad I noticed that. Why would you say that? It's elementary, my dear. Because the only fingerprints on this guitar case are those of the victim. Ah. Get bodied. What is it, Miss Andrews? You shouldn't assume that I must have left prints just because I touched the case. What do you mean? What if I were to tell you that I was wearing gloves at the time? I would say you're a liar! Gloves? Why would you be wearing gloves? It was the night of the awards ceremony, so of course I dressed up for the occasion. Yes, now I remember. I'm almost sure I was wearing a pair of thin gloves. You dumb idiot. You dumb, stupid idiot. Your prints are on this wine glass. I see. Well, Mr. Wright, it seems the witness was wearing gloves at the scene of the crime. That's pretty sussy baka. You're wearing gloves? Isn't that a little strange? Why is that strange? Do you have something that would prove I was not wearing gloves at the time? Moron. Dumb idiot. I have your proof right here. This wine glass. The wine glass? You left your fingerprints very clearly on the wine glass. Yeah. Even if you took your gloves off when you poured yourself the glass of juice, wouldn't you think it was just a little strange? That you put your gloves back on just to open the guitar case? Ah! Oh my goodness, her glasses wait, what? She brought a spare pair of exploding glasses? Order! 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 How long do I have to wait for my McFlurry? Looks like you hit the nail on the head this time. What do you mean? I believe that guitar case plays a very important role here. Does it actually? It's just an empty case. I wonder if it really was empty, though. The suicide note was in it. I was actually right on both of my thoughts. But the guitar, the bright red guitar, was at the studio. Phoenix, drop all of your presumptions. What was in the guitar case was not the bright red guitar. You don't mean it was a bright white guitar? Wait, that's not right. I admit it would be unnatural for someone to do that. So the witness was not wearing gloves, despite the fact that on the case. Your Honor, this is obviously the defense's usual misdirection tactic at work. Steer the court towards an unrelated topic, lull us all into his misguided, get objected? No, Your Honor. Please recall that Miss Andrews had testified that the vase fell onto the guitar case, which means that the case was closed when the crime took place. However, it's wide open in this photo of the crime scene. I'm sure this guitar case has some relation to the murder. If you're so sure, right, then I'm sure you can somehow substantiate your outrageous claim, correct? Please enlighten us as to why the guitar case has anything at all to do with this murder. Okay, so I think the answer is gonna be the murder note, but I'm gonna save real quick to be safe. Can you do that, Mr. Wright? Well, let's suppose for a second that the bright red guitar was not the only thing that could have been in the case. The bright red guitar not being the only thing. You don't mean a black guitar! So you intend to push your theory that the case was not empty? Is that it, right? I wouldn't say something I didn't intend to prove. Deflate that head of yours. You haven't proven anything yet. Now then, let's have at it. What was inside this case at the time of the murder? It's gotta be the suicide note. It's gotta be. And why would something like that be inside a guitar case, let alone this one? Why, Mr. Wright, why? Well, I just thought it might have been possible. Wait, is that not right? Am I wrong? I have a suggestion. Why don't you put that in the void where your brain is supposed to be? Okay, that was a good comeback. Yes, and never bring it out again. Can a foolishly foolish fool get some love? Do you still think you can prove your theory? Can you prove the guitar case was not empty at the time of the murder? I wouldn't say something I didn't intend to prove. Deflate that head of yours, you haven't proved it. Okay, Ooh, okay, that was my only thought, actually. I don't know what else it could be. A lot of stolen camera that old Windbag had. Why? Okay, wait. Let's just go through everything one by one. It wouldn't be a picture. That's a picture. Knife. It shouldn't be the knife. This is his autopsy. This is the attempted suicide by Adrian. That would have no relation. It's not Celeste's suicide report, which mentions her note missing, which is shocking to me. I thought I had it on lock. This was taken off of his costume after he was stabbed, so why would it be in there? That doesn't make any sense. That's another photo. It's not the wine glass. It's not the guitar case, because we're talking about what's in it. It's not the hotel guide map. The magazine clipping? No, because this magazine clipping was given to me by Lada? I think Lada gave me this? It wasn't Lada's camera, because Windbag stole it. It's not the transceiver, because I'm the one who has the transceiver, unless I'm trying to imply that one of them is the killer. There's no way that I'm supposed to bring up that there's a kidnapper involved during this. This is the press conference ticket that I was given by Powers, so it can't be that. This is a photo. Was it my attorney's badge? I actually have no idea. Like, what it could be? Is it something that I can see in the crime photo? It was the tomato juice, chat. I'm super lost on this one. Can't be the knife. Can't be any of the autopsies or suicide reports. It can't be any of the reports. I'd be shocked. The only report it could be is this one, and it's not that one. If it's not that one, there's no way it's these two. This was like on his chest. Like we saw in the crime photo that, yeah, it's taken off of his chest, so it wouldn't be in the thing with his blood on it. That doesn't make any sense. It's not the wine glass. It's not the guitar case. I really don't think it's any of, like, these four things in a row right here. The magazine clipping, the conference ticket. Like, why would any of that be in there? And what would, even if it was, like, what would that, like, what would the magazine clipping or the conference ticket in the thing, like, what would that accomplish? What would that mean? Wendy is the one who stole Lotta's camera, so it wouldn't be Lotta's camera. I really don't think it's the transceiver. I have no idea. Is it like, does one of the photos show me anything here? Definitely not that one. It's just an image of the samurai. A foolish samurai. Uh-huh. I like, the more I think about it, the more I'm like, was it not just the suicide note? Like, what else would be in there that he would have? I don't think any of the photos, like, show anything useful. Am I supposed to say that it's, like, the transceiver and, like, try and link Adrian to the killer? I still don't know who The Killer is. I still kind of think The Killer is just Edgeworth. The tomato juice was in the case, and because she needed that refreshing tomato juice that she didn't drink, she had to open the case to get it. I want to finish this game today. I'm phoning a friend. Chat, what do they want here? I have no idea, and I'm not gonna sit here and try and... Normally I would sit here for like 5 minutes and try and work it out, but I want to be done with this game. I don't want to play the second Ace Attorney game anymore. We have to finish this today. It's the Nickel Samurai? What? What do you mean it's the Nickel Samurai? Or Lotta's photo? Lotta's photo is this one, right? What? Take that! This is a photograph! Yes, Your Honor, every time it makes me laugh. What's important is what is in that picture, Your Honor. In this picture? Doesn't take a genius to see what I mean. What I'm proposing is... Inside the guitar case was the Nickel Samurai, the hero's very own costume. What? 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 Am I the only one who's super lost here? What does Phoenix mean that the guitar case owned by the victim who plays the jamming samurai had, like, inside his guitar case was the Nickel Samurai outfit? What? How am I, as the player, supposed to figure that out? Like, how am I supposed to be like, oh, yes, of course, in the Jamming Ninja's guitar case that was missing its guitar was the outfit of the Nickel Samurai, the guy who was accused of murdering him. What? What? Yeah, I'm with Edgeworth. This makes no sense. Mr. Wright, explain yourself. Right. Are you saying the witness opened the guitar case to take out a costume? What insane point would there be to doing something like that? That insane point would be to wear the costume, of course. No. Stop, time out. No. Edgeworth, you're on the wrong track, Edgeworth. Her wearing the costume and pretending to be the Nickel Samurai, sure, yeah, I get how Phoenix would assume that. Why would the costume be in his guitar case? Like, why would it be in the guitar case? Miss Andrews put it on to hide her identity so she could make her escape, but why was it in the guitar case? After all, you couldn't let anyone see you leave, could you, Miss Andrews? I refuse to accept your theory. Do you have anything to support such a preposterous idea? No. Just outside the door was an investigative photographer who was starving for a big scoop. And in the end, she managed to get the shot correct. You mean this photo? What? Order. It looks like we've wandered into quite another mess again, haven't we? Nice job, Phoenix. Well, you know my strategy. Speak first, think later. I cannot be the only... I know that people... I've heard people, friends of mine, say that they think the second game is really weak compared to the others. I cannot be the only one who played this and thought, like, why do I even play it, right? How do you make that assumption? How is the player supposed to, without just guessing or cheating by looking it up, how are you supposed to guess that in Juan Carita's guitar case was a Nickel Samurai outfit that I guess was pre-prepared beforehand and put into the case? And she had it there? What? The Nickel Samurai had something to say, but actor guy doesn't know anything about it. That's how you're supposed to guess? What? I'm supposed to guess that because Matt Ungard didn't know that he was giving a press conference after, that Juan Carita was going to dress up as the Nickel Samurai and pretend to be him? But But didn't we just see a scene earlier where what's-his-face was sleeping and he was wearing, Matt on guard was sleeping and he was wearing the outfit? That does not make any sense. That's stupid and bad. And whoever, apparently the same guy who wrote the first game wrote this game. Apparently he was a no-talent hack who got lucky when he made the first game. Because, man, the second game sucks. That is such an insane leap of logic that the game does not actually lead you towards at all. It gets trippy? No, you're wrong. It does not get trippy. It gets bad. You're using the wrong word. It gets bad. It's poorly written. It sucks. It is not well written. It's not like, oh wow, he really got high making this one. It's, he didn't know what he was doing when he wrote this one. Legitimately, this game sucks. So the real murderer was hiding inside a costume. Wait 1 second, Your Honor. The Nickel Samurai's costume would have been Mr. Matt on guards. Why would something of the defendants be in the victim's room? Oh, Edgeworth is actually going to bring this up. And inside the guitar case of all places. True, it's a little baffling. Mr. Wright, the court would like to hear your thoughts. What was this Nickel Samurai costume doing inside the guitar case? Well, it wasn't stolen from him because he had... We saw earlier when What's-Her-Face said, like, oh, Matt on guard was taking a nap. He was wearing the hakama and all. Because they found him in the outfit, didn't they? When after they, like, arrested him for the murder? So it must have been a different costume. Mr. On guard did not take his costume off during the break period. In that case, the costume we're talking about was a spare one. What? Then, are you saying that on the night of the murder, there were 2 Nickel Samurai costumes in the Gatewater Hotel? Yes, that is what I'm saying. Okay, so what would have been smart of the writer is if he wanted to try and, like, get the player to get to this, like, train of logic without just guessing, is that during the investigation period, there should have been some mention of there having been a spare costume somewhere or something, or us figuring out something about an extra costume, but, like, not being able to find it or something. How do you explain the costume that was inside the guitar case? It would mean that the victim himself had brought this spare to the ceremony on purpose. I guess because he was going to pretend to be the dude or whatever, which... Wouldn't they be able to tell that it wasn't his voice? What? What is... But why? The victim, Mr. Kurita, was the Jammin' Ninja. Why would he secretly bring the Nickel Samurai spare costume with him? What could be the reason behind such a peculiar act? And therein lies the sticking point. What are you mumbling to yourself about now? Have you just been rambling all this time without any sense of inner monologue? Huh? No, I just... Mr. Wright, please explain yourself. Why do you think the victim had the Nickel Samurai spare costume? Phoenix, are you sure you can explain this one? Think carefully before you answer, and then answer with gusto. I believe in you. Alright, this is what I think. The reason the victim brought the Nickel Samurai's spare costume to the hotel was, I guess he was going to impersonate him at the press conference? I don't really get what that's gonna accomplish. Like... What? Take that! What is this? On the night of the murder, after the stage show, the Nickel Samurai was gonna hold a special press conference. A press conference? Yes, the Nickel Samurai was supposed to confess something at this conference. Heard about this as well. For once, you're not making something up, right? But what struck me as strange was that Mr. On guard himself said he had no idea he was supposed to be holding a press conference that night. But how can that be? The way I see it, that can mean only one thing. The conference was set up by none other than the victim, Mr. Juan Kurita himself. The victim? Yes, the spare Nickel Samurai costume was prepared for that conference. Mr. Kurita was gonna hold the press conference as the Nickel Samurai, and then I guess he was going to perfectly mimic the voice of Matt on guard, and then also just trust that Matt on guard would not, I don't know, walk out of his hotel room? He was gonna dress up as the Nickel Samurai and hold a conference? But why would the victim do such a thing? Because he's a moron, Your Honor? This plan never would have worked? That's something I don't quite know yet. However, what I am concerned with right now is what he intended to reveal at that conference. The Nickel Samurai was gonna confess something, and by confess, I'd wager he was gonna reveal something about himself. Which means that Juan Kurita, posing as the Nickel Samurai, was gonna speak about Matt on guard. Yes, I guess that is what it would mean. This makes no sense. But if that's the case, that's not a confession, that's public disclosure. Miss Andrews, I can see why you're pros at what you do. Pardon me. Yes, just as you say, the press conference was set up by Juan. Yeah, she was setting up the press conference, so she would have had to have been in on that. Miss Andrews, please offer us an explanation for this. I was the one he asked to help set it up, and the person who prepared the second costume for him, that was also me. You? Juan had bet everything on the Jammin' Ninja this year, and if he lost the Grand Prix, he was gonna make sure Matt was going down with him. That's what he thought anyway. This never would have worked. This never would have worked. He was gonna ruin him, huh? Looked like somehow Juan had in his hands a secret so powerful it would destroy Matt's acting career had it been revealed. If he had such a thing, why would he need to dress up as the Nickel Samurai to do it? What? What? This doesn't make any sense, bro. And do you know what this secret of Mr. Unguard's is, Miss Andrews? That's something only Juan knew. I don't know what it is. I see. Well, I mean, supposedly Matt would also know it. I've probably been coming off quite suspicious to everyone, but that's to be expected. I've been trying to protect Matt after all. Protect Mr. Unguard? You're getting him accused of murder? What do you mean, protect him? And yet again, another strange bit of truth comes to light, it seems. Miss Andrews, if you could, please tell us the truth about your behavior. Yes, Your Honor, I understand. Wait, are we doing another testimony? Oh, dang it, I was hoping we were at the end of this. From the moment I saw the crime scene, I had a feeling that Matt was the murderer. Oh, okay. She's gonna twist it as she was trying to protect Matt from... That still doesn't make any... You're, like, testifying. What? Matt had to kill Juan no matter what, and he didn't have an alibi for what he was doing at the time of the murder. My thoughts were confirmed by the evidence, of course, the button and the knife. But I'm Matt's manager, so I felt that I had to protect him. I don't believe you. I don't believe you. I don't believe you. That's insane. This doesn't count for everything. Well, I am the logical type. We're finally seeing her true self. She's more nervous than a scared rabbit. If the defense can find no fault with this testimony, I'm ready to make a ruling. Please keep that in mind as you cross-examine Mr. Wright. Looks like somehow everything is swung to the opposite end of the scale again. That just means I have to put my weight into this and turn her logic upside down. You're right, Chad. It's Wabbit season. Bring back the picture of the bunny girls. I should save the game, also. Hold it. Would you say that was your intuition speaking to you? Don't confuse my methods of reasoning with your own. If you want to prove that someone did something, you need 3 things. 3 things? A motive, an opportunity to commit the crime, and finally, decisive evidence. And if you think these 3 things through, the answer becomes quite clear. You should have already known that, Phoenix. They didn't teach that to us in school, at least not from what I remember. In lawyer school, they didn't teach you? Okay. May I continue now? Matt had to kill Juan no matter what. So would you say this need came from the press conference? Yes, do you know why Juan chose that event in that hotel for the conference? Because that was when he could cause the most damage to the public's beloved Matt on guard. And you knew of this plan, didn't you, Miss Andrews? Yes, because I was the one who set up the conference and prepared the costume. You're contradicting yourself. You helped set up ruining Matt on guard's career, but then you're as his manager trying to protect him from, like, the murder case? What? But I'm sure Mr. Unguard himself didn't know anything about the press conference. Oh, really? Can you show me any proof that he didn't know about the press conference? Anyway, the important thing here is that this information was not in your testimony. Yes, I agree. Miss Andrews, please correct your testimony if you please. Grasping at straws now, are we, Mr. Wright? That's literally all Mr. Wright does. I know what his motive was, but I don't have any way to prove I'm right. Has Mr. Unguard done something to hurt or betray you personally? Why do you ask? You were the one who helped Mr. Kurita with his press conference. That event was supposed to bring down Mr. Unguard, yet you still helped out. The person on trial right now is Mr. Unguard, right? What the witness was thinking, helping the victim with this plan, is none of our concern. It is! If it proves that she had a vendetta against the person she's testifying against. In any case, this means that the defendant had a motive to kill. Why do I keep doing this to myself? He didn't have an alibi for what he was doing at the time of the murder. But didn't you already testify earlier that Mr. Ungard was taking a nap in his room? Are you telling me now that that too was a lie so you could cover for Mr. Ungard? I'm not telling you anything of the sort. When I went to get him for the show, he honestly was sleeping. However, as to whether he was sleeping the entire time, I cannot say. I was too busy setting up the stage at the time. I keep trying, but I can find no flaws with what Miss Andrews has said. Can't say the same for some people here in this courtroom, however. The judge is glaring straight at Mia. He's glaring at you, smart guy. My thoughts were confirmed by the evidence, of course, the button and the knife. You can hardly call the knife decisive evidence. Fingerprints on the knife could very well be a clever camouflage. Then what about the button? The button? It's clear from the crime scene that the victim and his murderer fought. During the fight, the killer ripped the button from the Jammin' Ninja's costume. You're talking about this button, correct? That button was found in the pleats of Matt's hakama, isn't that correct? I would think that makes it very decisive evidence. Looks like you were outfoxed again, Mr. Wright. Anyway, the knife doesn't prove a thing. Please fix your testimony. Can't stand the sight of a man who can't gracefully accept his defeat. I can't stand the sight of a woman who lies through her teeth. So, thank goodness Mia can still look at me. With an icy stare. Yes, Mia can read my mind. Miss Andrews, for Mr. Wright's sake, please add this information to your testimony. That's 2 different bits of added testimony here. Interesting. How do you know that? Oh, wait, what did it say? Whoops. I should have actually read the green text. When the ends of the threads of the button and the costume were matched up, they were found to fit together perfectly, so I heard. I've heard that before, too, but why would Miss Andrews know about this case down to such a fine detail? Don't look at me like that, just because I'm prepared and you're not. And I thought I had her this time for sure. If there's anything to trip her up on, it has to be here, but where and what? Okay, so wait. That button was torn off of Juan during his fight with Matt. So it wants me to present evidence there? Well, let's hit L1 on this first. But what you really did was stab the guy in the back, didn't you? And at the worst possible time.
Objection!
Who's to say she really stabbed the guy in the back, as you put it? This witness could have disclosed things about Mr. Ungard at any time. Why then would she wait until there was a large audience before doing so? It's the same reason why Mr. Critta planned such an elaborate conference. Miss Andrews wanted to cause Mr. Ungard as much damage as she possibly could. This witness bears ill will towards the defendant. This isn't the Phoenix Wright wax philosophical power hour. Actually, it kinda is. And please stop slandering the witness. As I expected, Miss Andrews' testimony seems pretty solid. Really, because to me it sounded a little wishy-washy. Wishy-washy? I guess we'll see if I press a little more. You should know this by now, but you'll need strong, decisive evidence to make her talk. Got it, Chief? I'm gonna pin you down this time, Miss Andrews. Don't say it like that, Phoenix. Okay, so they want me to present evidence here. That button was torn off during the fight between Juan and Matt. It's covered in his blood. It's found in his hakama. Okay. How am I gonna present evidence against this? Here's the victim's blood and Ungard's fingerprints, yada yada. Juan's autopsy report, time of death 8:15, strangled with a scarf, then stabbed. Oh, right, he was like strangled and then stabbed, wasn't he? Show me the image of his death again. What, was he strangled from behind and then stabbed? How? Okay, no, wait, I think I got it. The button was torn off of Juan during his fight with Matt. That can't be true because he was choked and then stabbed. So, like, there wouldn't have been any blood on the button when it was ripped off if he, like, it wouldn't have been ripped off during the fight and had blood on it if he was choked out and killed and then stabbed afterward. Do I show the autopsy or the picture? Probably the autopsy, right? The music stopped. Let's go. This trial day has been, other than the weird nickel samurai thing that I couldn't figure out, this trial day I think has been easier than the other trial day that we had. Sorry, taking a drink of my water. Or not other trial day, the first half of the trial with Old Bag. This is the victim's autopsy report. Clearly states the cause of death was strangulation by a scarf. Strangulation? The knife stab to the victim was done after the victim had already died. And what does that mean? Let's examine the evidence. This button has the victim's blood on it, which would mean that it was ripped off of the costume when? After the knife was stabbed into the victim. Exactly, which means it's impossible that this button was torn off during the victim's final struggle, because the victim was strangled to death in that fight. Ah. That's right, Miss Andrews. There's no way this button was ripped off during the struggle. This button was consciously pulled off of the victim's already dead body! Order! Order! What is the meaning? What is the meaning of this, right? So what if the button was torn off the body after the victim had already died? What does that change? Why would he have ripped the button off? Let me ask you one simple question, Edgeworth. Why was the button torn off? Yeah, exactly. What purpose did that serve? Oh my goodness, what is this? Like a narrative flow that makes sense and can be followed by the player instead of just feeling like random nonsense? That's crazy. I didn't think that they wrote Ace Attorney games like this anymore. What purpose? We now know this button was not torn off during the fight, so the murderer took the time and effort to purposely rip it from the victim's body. That would mean that the murderer had something in mind, wouldn't it? Mr. Wright, does this mean? Does this mean you know what the murderer wanted to do with this button? What was it? To pin the crime on Enguarde. Like, obviously. There's only one logical reason for doing something like that. It was to pin the crime on Mr. Enguarde. There's no way anyone would put a bloodied button in their own pants. That's right, Mr. Enguarde was set up. By the real killer, of course. Or duh killer. And the real murder is? Well, Mr. Wright, who in the world is the real killer then? I think he meant to say the real murderer. Finally, I can't believe I managed to bring this trial all the way up to this point. Phoenix, you can't let your guard down yet, not until the very end. The real killer, the person who planned to frame Mr. Enguarde is, I mean, it just has to be what's-her-face, right? Like, who would I blame here other than Adrian? Not Old Bag, not Enguarde. Not Juan Carita, because there's... I was thinking for a second, like, what if it was Juan somehow, but he died, so there's, like, no way that he would have done that. Not a lot of... No, it's just gotta be her. Miss Adrian Andrews, I choose you. She's a Pokemon now. You are Mr. Carita's killer. What? Oh, there go her glasses. Definitely got some glass shards in her eyes there. Order! Order! I want a Dave's double now. Mr. Wright, this is a very grave matter. Do you have any evidence that supports your charge? Any evidence? All of the evidence points to Miss Andrews. How preposterous, you can't stick any of that on me. I can't, can I? Would you care to test me? Then what about this knife? The knife was used to stab the victim after he had already been strangled to death. It was used to throw suspicion onto Mr. Enguarde, naturally. A knife covered in the defendant's fingerprints could only be taken from his room. The only one who had dinner with him and knew which knife to take was you. How many pairs of glasses does she have? Then, what about the button that was found in Matt's Hakama? This button was removed from the victim's body after he had already died. The only person who could have done so, were the person who found his body or the killer. However, if Mr. Enguarde was the real killer, there's no way he would have put such incriminating evidence in his own Hakama. Okay, I get it. Her glasses explode. The only person who could have put this button into Mr. Enguarde's Hakama is the person who went to wake him from his nap, which is you yet again, Miss Andrews. I see. What about the empty guitar case? That's also another piece of evidence that incriminates Miss Andrews. That costume was used to hide the real killer's identity as they fled the crime scene. Now, who could have known that there was just such a costume inside the guitar case? Literally no one. It could only have been the person who prepared the costume for the victim. And that person is you, Miss Adrian Andrews. No, But Miss Andrews' fingerprints were nowhere to be found on the guitar case. Words. It was you who proved that she was not wearing gloves at the time. That's right. That's because she did not intend on leaving any prints. If anyone had found out that she had touched the case, they would have asked her why. So to avoid leaving any prints, she used a towel or something else to open it. But the glass of tomato juice is a different story. Miss Andrews purposefully left her fingerprints on the glass to show that, yes, indeed, she was the classic dazed discoverer of a dead body. And to top it all off, there's this photo. A photo of the killer as they exited the scene of the crime. No reasonable person on Earth can believe this Nichols samurai is Mr. Unguard. He would be much too short for his own costume if it was him. Speaking of how tall people are, Miss Andrews, you're also kind of short in stature, are you not? Please stop. Well, how about it, Miss Andrews? I got her this time. Miss Andrews? I refuse to testify. What was that? That's an admission of guilt in my world. There's a law. It says I can't be forced to testify about something if it can incriminate me. Well, yes. You're absolutely correct, Miss Andrews. The law does provide us with a way to avoid self-incrimination by allowing a witness to not testify if the testimony can cause damage to themselves. What? Pleading the fifth is not something most people would think to do on the spot. First of all, yes it is. Second of all, isn't this game, like, based in Japan? They don't, like, have the fifth in Japan. Does Japan have the same self-incrimination thing that America does? Actually, thinking back to yesterday in Mr. Unguard's room, Adrian Andrews. Yes. Think hard about what we just discussed, understood? All right. Von Karma told her to plead the fifth. That's it. That's when Franziska planted this idea into her head. She must have told Miss Andrews to not testify if things looked bad. You did a good job proving everything up to this point, Phoenix, but there's still one thing you haven't done. Something I haven't done. What's wrong, Wright? Are you finished already? Run out of evidence? What's so humorous, Mr. Edgeworth? I'm sure you realize this as well, Your Honor. But everything the good lawyer here has proven up to this point is meaningless. What? Everything you have proven is circumstantial. Circumstantial? Yes, circumstantial. You have yet to provide a single piece of definitive proof. Proof that Miss Andrews did in fact harbor a wish to murder Mr. Kurita. Miss Andrews, did you want to kill Mr. Kurita? I believe this may lead to me incriminating myself, so I will abstain from answering. This is an admission of guilt. But Miss Andrews, if you don't do that, it would be the same as admitting your guilt, don't you think? Maybe so or maybe not. There's nothing to prove it either way. Besides, you don't even know what crime I would be guilty of due to my silence. No, she's taking that defiant attitude again. Mia, what should we do? Somehow, we've landed in the worst possible situation. I think we've reached a certain conclusion at this point in time. Miss Adrian Andrews has refused to testify, and the defense's theory that she is the actual murderer has not been fully substantiated with solid definitive proof. But that's not true. In this situation, there's only one thing this court can do, and that is to declare a recess. Recess? Oh my goodness, we gotta have another. Okay. It's gonna be another break and another run of trials. I request that both the prosecution and the defense look further into this matter, and at tomorrow's trial. Oh wait, tomorrow's trial? Tomorrow? We don't have a tomorrow? If we don't get a not guilty verdict today, then? Please wait, Your Honor, that's not necessary. The trial, please continue the trial. Here we go again. What are you sweating for? Your client is getting one more day to live, isn't he? Wait, is the death penalty up for grabs here? That's not it. This isn't about that. Edgeworth, I know you know who the real killer is. Please let the trial continue. If I don't get the verdict, then Maya. But it's impossible to continue as long as the witness refuses to testify. Now then, this court is... It's not impossible for this trial to continue. Mr. Edgeworth, what are you? It's true Miss Andrews holds the right against self-incrimination. However, if the topic of conversation were something unrelated to whatever she may be guilty of, she has no right to withhold testimony. Yes, that's very true, but... Actually, there is one little thing that I'm curious about. Miss Andrews, when you found the victim's dead body, you poured yourself a glass of juice. Who does that, girl? Who does that? That's what I want to know. Yes, and Can't help but think how unnatural it is. Oh, we're finally bringing this up? Finally? Usually when one finds a body, they're shaken up, not stirring a glass of juice. So my actions were unusual, but I've already... Before you speak, I want to state that if you have a reason behind your actions, I'd like you to testify to that effect. Testify? Your Honor, I'd like to request that the witness testify again as to what happened when she first discovered the victim's body. Whatever we find out in this testimony should in no way implicate the witness. So, wait, but I have to implicate the witness, though, because she did it. I don't know what it is about Edgeworth today, but I can't get a good read off of him. Is he friend or foe? I just don't know. He's plot convenient. Mia is what he is today. He's plot convenient. The court acknowledges the prosecution's request. Miss Andrews, if you please. Oh my goodness, this case is too long! That glass of juice, I didn't really pour it for myself. I was surprised when I walked into the room and saw it in that messy state. And Juan, he was sitting slumped over and tired looking in the corner. When I saw him sitting like that, the thought that he was dead didn't cross my mind. To be honest, I thought he had just fainted or something, so I went to pour him some juice. No, you did not! There was a knife in his chest! When I realized that he was dead, that's when I knocked the flower vase over. This is completely different from what you said earlier. So you poured that glass of juice for the victim. Why didn't you say so in your earlier testimony? I didn't think I needed to include something so trivial, so I lied! Phoenix, please be careful here. If you can't find anything wrong with this testimony, then there's nothing left. I know. Edgeworth, what the heck is going on in that brain of yours? In Edgeworth's brain, what's going on right now is the writers made a bad case, and he has to play plot convenience to it every single time. Now then, Mr. Wright, you may begin your cross-examination. Shroom, what's up, man? Shroom, you're... Dude, bro. The first Ace Attorney game was really good. This Ace Attorney game sucks, bro. We're having to go through a really shoddily written, bad case right now. In my opinion. Glass of juice, I didn't really pour it for myself. Hold it. Idiot. Stupid. That makes no sense. There wasn't anyone else in the room, right? Of course not. Then who'd you pour it for? Mr. Wright, there's a rhyme and reason for everything. Can you wait just a little longer for it to be revealed to you? In other words, Wright, be quiet and listen. Precisely. I couldn't have said it better myself. Surprised when I walked in the room and saw the messy state. So it was a mess? Are you sure it wasn't messy because of your fight with Mr. Coretta? I understand your frustrations in not being able to prove your theory. However, before you go accusing people of crimes, go find yourself some evidence. Grr. What did you see next, witness? What on earth are we trying to get across with this? He was sitting slumped over and tired looking in the corner. Tired looking, yeah. Slumped over? Yes, he was just sitting there with his head tilted forward, eyes closed. He really looked like he was sleeping. Is it just me or did that right there sound a little odd? Yeah, he had a knife in his chest? When I saw him sitting like that, the thought that he was dead didn't cross my mind. There was a knife in his chest! Then what did cross your mind? I thought maybe he'd smashed everything up in anger because he lost the Grand Prix, and then felt tired after his rampage, so decided to take a nap sitting up in a chair. Okay. Anyways, that's what I thought. I see, you didn't think he was dead at all. To be honest, I thought he had fainted or something, so I went to pour him some juice. You thought he fainted. I thought he was asleep at first, but then the room was in such a messy state, I thought maybe he had gotten in a fight with someone. That's when you went to pour the glass of juice? Yes, he always has a hard time waking up. Juan always had a glass of tomato juice to drink. I see, and after that, what happened next? When I realized he was dead, that's when I knocked the flower vase over. And how did you come to realize that he was in fact dead? I shook him over and over, but I never got a response, so I set the glass down on the dresser and tried to take his pulse. I was shocked and staggered backward. There was a knife in his chest! And knocked the flower vase over, so that's what happened. Yes. This is what it all comes down to. This is the absolute end for both sides, and Adrian is letting her guard down. Phoenix, now's her best chance yet to kill the prosecution's case. Isn't that a bit harsh? Miss Andrews, will you tell us the truth this time? Do I present it here? Or here? I think it makes more sense to present it here. I should probably save first. Of all the juices to choose, why would you go for tomato juice? This guy sounds like he deserved it. True, Shroom, true! Bro should have been having some apple juice. Where's the death photo? There's a knife in his chest. The music didn't stop. This isn't it? Huh. Okay, so maybe I presented it the last thing. Presented here. Okay, I presented it on the wrong one. Presenting it on the other one made more sense to me, but whatever. So you honestly didn't think he was dead when you found him? No, not at all. Even though this is what you saw when you discovered the body. Bro has a knife in his chest, idiot. What is the meaning of this? Isn't it obvious, Your Honor? There's a knife sticking out of Mr. Corinna's chest! Anyone who saw this scene would have immediately thought that he was a dead man. That's, well, you see, I doubt a single person in the world would mistake this for someone who fainted and then so nonchalantly go pour something to drink, dumb idiot moron, stupid face. I hate you. I hate you. Your point is, Miss Andrews, your testimony just now was all one giant lie. And your lie has proven one thing very clearly. That you're the real killer. No! Idiot. Looks like the defense has somehow brought the ugly truth to light. The defendant, Mr. Matt on guard, is not guilty after all. But that's impossible, you're wrong. Miss Andrews, try to have some composure. It wasn't me, I tell you. It was Matt, I swear it, he's the one who killed Juan. But you're the one who refused to testify. And your reason for not doing so is that you might end up incriminating yourself. That's because, Miss Andrews, I'll give you one last chance. What exactly are you hiding that may incriminate you? I refuse to testify. All right, Your Honor, executor. Then there's no need for this court to continue any further. Mr. Matt on guard's innocence has been clearly demonstrated. Is it over? Have we found the truth at last? Is this actually the end of this case? We didn't bring up the dead lady at all. What's wrong, Phoenix? Usually the real killer confesses his or her guilt. And now that I think about it, this is the first time someone hasn't. Now then, I'd like to hand down my verdict for Mr. Matt on guard.
Objection!
Edgeworth, what the heck, man? Your Honor, the prosecution feels that it would be premature to pass down a verdict at this time. What? The reason's quite simple. This witness is yet to speak the absolute real truth. Yeah, but she refuses to testify? The absolute real truth? What are you... Witness, don't you understand yet? Huh? I don't know who planted this silly idea in your head, but as long as you protect yourself through your silence, Matt on guard will go free. And in his place, you will become the guilty party. That's a lie. I don't believe you. What do you... What? Huh? What? I was told if I spoke that it would be all over and Matt would never be declared guilty. What in the world is she talking about? Has she lost it? I can't speak about it. I'm too scared. It's Franziska von Karma. Huh? Don't you remember, Phoenix? Miss Andrews lives by gripping tightly onto the words of another. Because she doesn't have the strength to believe in herself. Then right now, Miss Andrews is. Yesterday, she was tossed a lifesaver by Miss Von Karma. Don't say a word no matter what happens. If you do, Matt on guard will be acquitted. Miss Andrews undyingly believes in those words right now and is clinging on to them. Then what should we do? This is the first time I've ever come across anything like this. What is happening? But Miss Andrews has to be the killer, right? All we have to do now is get our not guilty. That's my only priority. It wasn't me. I'm begging you. Please believe me. I didn't kill Juan. Help, please. Someone help me. Mr. Wright. Yeah, Your Honor. The court can't continue on like this. Therefore, I'd like to hear what you intend to do. What I intend to do? What am I supposed to do? What do I say? Right. I suggest you think very carefully about this. Think about what this witness did and what she did not do. And think about who's the real mastermind behind this crime. Who's the real mastermind? Isn't that obvious? There's no one else it could be except the woman crying over there, right? Come now, what will you do? What kind of man are you, Mr. Phoenix Wright? Is it telling me that she didn't do it? It's actually the killer who did it? There's no way that the killer is the killer, though, right? Like, come on. Surely not. Can I just have my not guilty verdict so I can be done with this case? I guess they want me to get her to testify again. I have to win a complete acquittal today. There's no way around that. But I can't bring myself to do it like this, not when she's making a face like that. Miss Andrews, I would like to know what you're really hiding. Mr. Wright, are you sure you know what you're doing? This doesn't feel like how a courtroom operates, if I'm honest. Shroom, this entire franchise doesn't actually work how courts operate, but this game has been especially bad about it. Like, this game has done awfully about it. Mr. Wright, are you sure you know what you're doing? Sure, Mr. Ungard would get an acquittal, but in his place, you would be found guilty. Is this how you really want this trial to end? Be quiet, how dare you? You're trying to trick me. That's enough. I commend you for trying, Mr. Edgeworth. However, it's clear that the defense's theory is the truth. You're wrong. So let's take a drink of water. What a shame. I'd hoped things wouldn't come to this, however. He's gonna pull out a gun and shoot her. What is it, Mr. Edgeworth? Miss Andrews, since you absolutely refuse to testify, it falls on my shoulders to disclose this to the court. Stop. Mr. Edgeworth, the music that plays when Edgeworth once again shows that he's a horrible prosecutor and goes against his cases. Dude, is Edgeworth actually, like, the worst case of someone doing their job in the history of ever? Like, I don't even really understand much about the law system or prosecutors, but Edgeworth really is just, like, a plot device who does what he's not supposed to do in these cases, right? Like terribly so. This witness, how should I put this? She has an illness. What? And because of this illness, she has tried to commit suicide in the past. Stop, please stop. An illness? No matter how much you want to hide it, it's no use. I have the evidence right here. Ah, that's the second part of the suicide report, the attempted suicide report. What will you do now, witness? You know what I'm about to do, don't you? I will now reveal to the court the true nature of the pitiful woman known as Adrian Andrews. What is happening? The secret of her dependent nature. Having other people know about it scares her more than anything else in the world. By the way, this whole, like, dependent nature thing is one of the lamest. Like, it's so stupid to me. I think it's such a dumb gimmick for a character to have. Please stop, I beg you, if people find out. If people find out, Edgeworth could not care less. If you're gonna say you would choose death, that's no concern to me. Wow! Bro, really just said, like, kill yourself. See if I care. Edgeworth, how can you be so cold? How does Edgeworth have a job? However, before you die, I'll pull the truth from your still breathing lips. No matter what I have to do. So, will you tell the court yourself or shall I? Either is fine with me. I'll talk, but please help me. Nothing matters anymore. This is a testimony? When I first saw him, I really thought he had fainted, honest. When I realized he was dead, that was when I formulated my plan. Once I made sure there was no one in the hallway, I made a dash back to Matt's room, and then I stabbed Juan's dead body with the knife and ripped off the button. Just when I finished and was returning to Matt's room, I had a bit of an inconvenience. And that's why I ended up using the Nickel Samurai costume. Someone else killed him, and then you found him dead and played along? What? Stabbed the body with the knife? Why would you do that? Isn't it obvious to pin the blame on a certain person? A certain cowardly man? What do you mean by all of this? Might take this court a little while to understand, but this is the truth. The real killer is Matt, that scumbag of a man. I'll never forgive him. He's trying to escape his guilt again, just like last time. Like last time? Last time? So Miss Andrews stabbed the victim, Juan Coretta, in the chest with the knife. However, she didn't do it with murder in mind. She did it with the intent of framing Matt on guard for the murder. And this is her crime. Okay, Executor, Your Honor? I'm going for the death penalty on this one. What? How is this possible? I mean, wasn't Miss Andrews supposed to be the real murderer? Mr. Wright, please get over your shock and commence the cross-examination. Holy cow, this case is still going. Hold it. But you could tell from the state the room was in that there must have been a fight. Are you telling the truth when you say that you did not know he was dead? He had a scarf tied around his neck, but that scarf is part of the Jammin' Ninja's costume, so I didn't think anything about it was strange. His head was also tilted down a bit, so I couldn't see his face that well. That's why I thought I'd wake him up and went to pour the juice. Bum, bum. What's this plan you had? I knew right away the murderer was Matt. I knew because Juan, he was gonna expose Matt's weakest weak point to the world. So Matt did this to stop Juan and silence him for good. That's when I thought I should forge some evidence and pin this crime on Matt. So the forged pieces of evidence were the knife and the button. Okay, but if you thought that Matt did it already, then why did you need to forge evidence? Hello? The first thing that came to mind was to plant the knife. Was to make sure there was no one in the hallway. I made a mad dash back to Matt's room. That was so you could get the knife, correct? The knife Matt used at dinner had his fingerprints all over it. I thought if I used that, then the police would certainly turn their eyes towards him. Matt was napping with his costume on at the time. I slipped in, took the knife, and returned to the scene of the crime. You saw him napping there, and you thought that he had murdered someone and then went and took a nap? Then I stabbed Juan's dead body with the knife and ripped off the button. So you were the one to stab the victim with the knife. It gives me goosebumps to think about it now, what a horrible thing I did. But at the time, I couldn't control my own body. It moved on its own. I was mind-controlled, Your Honor. I was hit with Sharingan Genjutsu. It was actually Madara that did it, not me. Then when I stabbed Juan's dead body, I suddenly realized something. If I use the button somehow, I can make Matt look even more suspect. So you thought to rip one of the buttons off and then plant it in Mr. Unguard's Hakama? Yes, that's what I had planned to do. But things never go that smoothly, do they? Just when I finished and was returning to Matt's room, I had a bit of an inconvenience. A bit of an inconvenience. An inconvenience? There was a woman with a camera at the ready, loitering in the hallway. I'm willing to bet my spikes it was Lotta. I hate Lotta. There was also a woman with a ray gun at the ready, pacing back and forth. Yeah, it's old bag. I had already been caught and made into a big scoop for a certain weekly tabloid once, so I couldn't very well go out looking like myself and get caught again. And that's why I ended up using the Nickel Samurai costume. You were the one who prepared that costume, weren't you? Yes, I took it from Global Studios. I also put it into Juan's guitar case the day before the award ceremony. You did this in preparation for the press conference, correct? Yes, Juan wanted to wear that costume and hold a press conference in it. He was going to disclose Matt's big secret there. And what is this secret? That I don't know. Anyway, I thought that if I were to leave Juan's room in the Nickel Samurai costume, people would think that Matt was the real murderer. I was very careful not to leave any fingerprints when I opened the guitar case. I absolutely did not want anyone to know about the costume. I think we've heard enough. So after that, you went back to Mr. Unguard's room and planted the button. Into Matt's Hakama, yes. After that, I folded up the costume I was wearing and put it into a bag, then I snuck it out of the hotel and got rid of it. My word, what does all this mean? Mr. Edgeworth, is it? The real criminal is Matt Unguard. Yesterday, that woman prosecutor sat me down for a talk. Franziska, huh? She said that I should, under no circumstances, confess to what I had done. That if I just kept quiet, then Matt would be found guilty for sure. I had no choice but to believe in her words. Alright, Your Honor, I'm moving for 30 to life for this chick, by the way. I want her, like, you know. I actually don't want her executed anymore. I want her to suffer in prison. What this witness has done is clearly unlawful. However, as long as her testimony stands, we can be certain she's not the real killer. Wait, Your Honor. The defense still. Right. It's pointless. At this point in time, it's not possible to indict Miss Andrews on anything. Your Honor, I move that she's a liar because she's lied multiple times in court today. Yes, exactly. There isn't a single piece of evidence that points to her as the murderer. Yeah, okay. The cross-examination of this witness is over, and so is today's trial. You couldn't establish that the witness was the culprit. Please let it go, Mr. Wright. But, Mr. Edgeworth, please place Miss Andrews under arrest for further questioning. Understood, Your Honor. The prosecution will arrange for her detention immediately. That is all. Court is adjourned for today. Oh. Different slamming effect? What the heck? I've never seen that chair before. Today's trial, it's over. Oh no, Maya. I literally could not care less about Maya. And I didn't win an acquittal. Witness, would you mind if I asked you something? Edgeworth? What is it? Before you leave court today, I wondered if I might look at one thing. The card in your hand. It's had my interest for quite some time now. What exactly is it? Oh, this. Mr. Wright also asked about it. Although I didn't remember at the time you asked me about it, Mr. Wright, I remember just now. Oh, how convenient. I found this in the room on that day. The room? That day? Yes. I found the card when I discovered Juan's body. You took a piece of evidence from the... What? You found that card in his room on that desk and took it out of the crime scene and didn't remember that you took it out of the crime scene until now? I hate this case. I hate this game. This game sucks. It was lying there right next to him. You found that card next to the victim's body. I suppose I must have unconsciously slipped it in my pocket. Do you do anything consciously? But it's not as if this card has any relevance to Juan's murder, right? Yeah, I guess not, but it's still a strange card if you ask me. But as far as a clue to this case, I don't see why. Witness! That card! Give it to me, hurry! Edgeworth? Do you have any idea what you have stupidly yet inadvertently done? This. I can't believe you hid this from me all this time. I didn't mean to. Yeah, she's just stupid, Edgeworth. She can't help the plot convenience that the writer for this case had to jump through hoops with to make this poorly written case actually work. What is this all about? I've never seen Edgeworth so emotional before. That card? What in the world is it, and what does it mean? Finally, a to be continued.